What is up, guys? What if the truth has been staring us in the face this entire time? Okay. The market is heating up. XRP, Zebec up about 15%. Will it continue to go? We'll go ahead and answer that question. But first, let me hit you with the intro. My guy, Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Boom.
Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Blackrue Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer? Best believe bro, it's Blackrue Investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting, so we binge on that Blackrue Investing. Best believe bro, it's Blackrue Investing. That course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. Thank God for that Blackrue Investing. Best believe bro, it's Blackrue Investing.
What's going on, guys? The market is heating up, but what if the answer has been in our face the entire time? I'm going to play a couple clips here. One starting off from Brad Garlinghouse of XRP. You know what? Let's start with Paul Atkins of the SEC. Okay, go ahead and share my screen here. And I did a longer version of this show with the Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon, where I dropped a brand new gem, less than the cost of a cup of coffee for the month. Check out the Patreon. Links are in the description. So why is the market moving right now, guys? Well, let me get you up to speed on what's been happening in the past 2 days. And this is from Paul Atkins. It says, with our new proposal, the SEC is taking the most historic step to modernize federal securities regulations for crypto assets. As the crypto council of the world, as the crypto capital of the world, the U.S. must and will lead. Regulation, crypto assets will ensure that we do. Okay, so let's hear from Paul Atkins right now.
When I took office, I pledged to ensure that the United States remains the crypto capital of the world. For too long, issuers and investors had to navigate an activist SEC weaponized against this asset class. The result has been uncertainty and inefficiency, chasing crypto asset innovation outside of the United States. So today, I'm excited to announce that the SEC is taking the most historic step yet to modernize federal securities regulations for crypto assets. The United States must and will lead. Our new rule proposal, Regulation Crypto Assets, will ensure that we do. Now, let me be clear. The SEC continues to support congressional work on the Clarity Act, and we expect to see the bill reach the president's desk. Under our current statutory authority, we are acting. The work before us is too important. The Commission's March 2026 interpretation explained how a non-security crypto asset may become subject to, and how it may cease to be subject to, an investment contract, which is a security under law. Regulation Crypto Assets provides issuers of those investment contracts with a clear path to comply with federal securities laws within those parameters. Today's proposal sits at the center of this Commission's capital formation agenda and is essential to providing a framework for crypto asset fundraising. It is the Commission's answer to the question that has puzzled innovators since the birth of the blockchain. How can I raise capital to develop a crypto asset while I am still working to develop the network where it will be used? While Congress continues its important work to advance crypto market structure legislation for the president to sign, the world and our markets keep evolving. By moving forward with our current statutory authority, we can help ensure that America remains the world's premier destination to innovate, to raise capital, and to build the next generation of financial infrastructure.
So basically, the gist of that to me is that, hey, Congress, while you're getting your stuff together, we're going to move forward. Okay. Now, that was yesterday. Now, check what happened today. Paul Atkins. Great to join the president, real Donald Trump, Chairman Silic, and industry leaders. Okay. And the industry leaders, you can barely see them, but you will see them. Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, the Winklevoss twins of the Gemini Exchange, and I believe that's Patrick Witt right there. Okay. Under President Trump's leadership, we will ensure the greatest advances of technological frontier are realized right here in America. Let's play this and continue on.
Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Mr. President, for having us here today. From day one, you've made our nation's financial dominance and innovation job one. We at the SEC are delivering on your agenda. We're making IPOs great again, to continue on your theme, by cutting red tape that discourages companies from going public. Under your leadership, Mr. President, the IPO market is booming. Since Inauguration Day, 583 companies have gone public, and that's up 75% compared to the final year and a half of the Biden administration. And those companies have raised an impressive $208 billion, and that's nearly 4 times the amount raised during the final year and a half of the previous administration. So that's just not incremental progress. That is a turnaround. You've committed to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. And yesterday, the SEC, I'm proud to say, took another significant step to deliver on that. Our proposal, the crypto assets rule, would provide crypto entrepreneurs like those here in this room and job creators the certainty to raise capital in the United States using digital assets. This action is consonant with our belief that the most important priority is for Congress to send the Clarity Act to your desk for your signature. And the SEC is doing everything we can to support that work. So thank you again, Mr. President, for leading this nation to ensure that we continue to have the strongest markets in the world, to reshore innovation, and to welcome, yes, a whole new generation of investors through the Trump accounts. So under your leadership, we will make sure that the greatest advances of the technological frontier are right here in America. So thank you very much.
Now, even better, and now the market has skyrocketed, right? I've been pretty consistent on this. I think the bottom is in, and we're gonna look at some things here why I continue to think that the bottom is in. Now, if you're gonna be one of those guys waiting for 40K and you let this pass you by, I've seen people do it back in the days where Bitcoin went down to 16K. Because of the whole FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried thing. And people were like, no, it's going down to 10. It's going down to 10. You could not get people. You could not get people to buy in. Mind you, some of them may have bought at a high, right? At the top. But 16K is still too rich for their blood, right? Now, maybe the answer may have been right in our face the whole time. And of course, you don't have to make a quote unquote binary decision. If you think that it's over, you could have bought in a while ago, just 20% of your portfolio and kept 70% back if you were really, you thought we were going to go. But at least you're leaving with something. All right. Q Denzel over here.
Yeah. I see a big tray. I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
At least you're leaving with something. You got 20% in at the low, right? But everybody tricks you into believing you have to get the lowest price. And that's not what the game is. Not with investing, right? In the game of investing, you're trying to get a bargain, right? And is Bitcoin at a bargain price? Yes, it was. Even before today, before it touched 70, it was at a bargain price. but some people are still waiting for 40, right? Now, maybe the answer was in our face the entire time. The most least consensus choice, right? That we don't get clarity. Donald Trump and Paul Atkins come out and they make a declaration, and then we start going up. The most least consensus thing is what sends the market up. What were you waiting for? Oh, what were you waiting for? I tell you what, every time, bro, and I've been watching a lot of King of the Hill, so I'm like, I tell you what. But anyways, shout out to the King of the Hill. Shout out to Hank Hill on that one, right? Every time consensus has an opinion with what the market is, consensus is wrong. We'll get the Clarity Act, next week in May. Every time consensus media opinion is wrong, right? All it's about is leveraging risk. And maybe you missed now 62K, 63K. Now it's going to hit 70, might come back to 65, 66. But then you may still be waiting for 40. Then we get to 80. Then we get to 85. And now you're buying at 85. Right? But maybe the answer was right in our face the entire time. Let's give you Brad Garlinghouse. Shout out to Ari Carpe Diem, formerly known as Crypto Ari. Ari was so gracious enough to come on to our game show, The Crypto Verdict, which has a separate channel now. Our guy Crux on there, Crypto Ari right there, and you can see the game show. I was lucky enough, to be there on there with Mike of NodeNet. Check out Mike there, Crux, Longview Compute, Scott there, Jesse KR, Finance, Crypto Ari, and yours truly, Blackrue Investing. Definitely come over and subscribe to Crypto Verdict if you haven't already. We're lining up some bangers, some real professionals in the space like Crypto Ari. This is going to be the best game show in crypto. Mark my words. This will be the best game show in crypto. You definitely want to tune in. We're dealing with topics like Canton, XRP, XLM, Zebec. We even asked the question, do you think humans will get to Mars in our lifetime? Just for fun, right? Join the crypto game show. That's the best around. And I'm not sharing it right now. Indeed. Let's bring it up here. Good thing I checked, huh? Let's go back to the window here. So yeah, Crypto Verdict now has its own channel. Definitely come over and subscribe to Crypto Verdict, guys. Again, we had Crypto Ari on, Mike of NodeNet, Crux, Scott of Longview Compute, Jesse of KR Finance, the lovely Crypto Ari, and yours truly, Blackrue Investing. Definitely come over here and subscribe to Crypto Verdict. We are now separating that channel from the Coin Vault. The Coin Vault will still do what the Coin Vault does, but Crypto Verdict is now a separate show, separate channel for the game show. If you haven't subscribed over there, please do so, because we will now only be streaming the game show from this channel. Okay. And we got some bangers lined up for that. So the reason I shared that is because I wanted to shout out Crypto Ari, because I heard she gave us a nice shout out. Thank you so much, Crypto Ari, or Ari Carpe Diem. Okay. Let's listen to what Brad has to say here. Ari sums it up. The fight on the Clarity Act. Brad Garlinghouse says Ripple doesn't have a big dog in the fight. And who was standing over there next to everybody in that previous clip? Brad Garlinghouse. And based on an inside source, he predicts the Clarity Act will be passed in May. Didn't happen, but probably doesn't matter. Okay. may not matter. But let's hear from Brad here.
So as you're describing, the Genius Act passed last summer, which I think was a major step forward. And I think it was one of the unlocks and demand and excitement around stablecoins. And you're seeing CEOs and CFOs at Fortune 2000 companies saying, hey, are we using stablecoins? Could we be using stablecoins? And that's going to continue to happen. The Clarity Act, which is intended to be kind of the fast follow-on, not quite fast, to provide clarity about what is a security, what's a commodity, et cetera, has been slow. And in part is the banks have kind of reopened some parts of the Genius Act about how our yield or rewards happen, what's the difference between reward and yield. Look, Ripple doesn't have a big dog in this fight. And so we have kind of, on this particular point, let people who care more deeply about it fight that fight. I do think that having this White House support the Clarity Act and push it forward has been profound. The fact that the SEC in the United States and the CFTC 9 days ago came together and said, these 16 digital assets are commodities. You think about the contrast between that and the Biden war on crypto that drove it offshore in the United States. So I think we already have made huge progress in this administration to provide some of that structure and clarity. I think clarity will still pass. I was in Washington 2 days ago, and I think we'll still get something. I think the person that I trust and how the sausage is made on these things said, when people are their most exhausted, most annoyed, that's when they finally compromise. And I think we're there. People are annoyed, they're exhausted. So hopefully we get something done. I'll predict by the end of May, we'll get something across.
That is a great line.
So Brad was half right. Like, people are at their most annoyed and most exhausted. And, Paul Atkins, Brad, the Winklevoss twins and Trump got up there and said, okay, when Congress figures its stuff out, we'll see. But we're putting pressure on them and we're passing this right now, right? Like Donald Trump has done before, where he sent out Christmas checks to our troops. He's like, look, I'm taking the bull by the horns and I'm getting something done because it looks like you guys can't figure it out, right? So kudos to him for that. And just like Brad's kind of mentioned here, seems like it doesn't matter that much for XRP for clarity. Again, something that wasn't the consensus popular opinion, right? Again, do you want to be the guy that misses Bitcoin now at 70? And again, it doesn't have to be a binary choice. You can put in a portion right now, right? A portion right now, and maybe it continues, everything continues to run. But I'm going to make a case that the bottom is in, okay? So let's show you something I've shown you guys before, but it's even more apt for right now, right? Sandy called, right? Shout out to Coinage for this. What does she say?
We got up to about 4 trillion in this last bull market. I think we're going to see multiples of that move into crypto. We could get 20, 30, maybe even north of that in terms of total money moving into the ecosystem. Demand for the native cryptocurrencies by people who are actually operating businesses in the space, I think is going to surge. Just the fact that everybody says by October the markets are going to turn, the markets will probably start to turn prior to October. That anticipation of that event, people are going to want to be positioned before that. Every time you call back to where the previous highs were and you consolidate, that's a good buying opportunity. That's how I think of it from just my pure trader instinct.
What did she say? People are going to want to be positioned before October, right? Couldn't have said it better myself. She says some things about agentic AI in here. We've talked about that before too. But again, we're just going to make the case here for the bottom being in. Okay. Now, shout out to a show I did with our guy, Yaboyski. He was on the Crypto Verdict game show, and we got together to do a collab, like criminally underviewed, might I add, 764 views. But this show was a banger. And if you don't understand the Wyckoff method, he goes and breaks it down very succinctly in this show. I definitely suggest you guys check this out on my channel, The Battle of the Cycles, which is Bitcoin's true cycle. Now, this is what he said here. Shout out to your boyski. Go give him a like and subscribe on his channel as well, and follow him on X. We'll go to his channel in just a second here, but let's go ahead and play this now.
Before finally reclaiming the 200-day moving average, and then it is over. In my opinion, we are somewhere in here. I don't know exactly where, but we're somewhere in this neck of the woods based on Wyckoff, in my opinion. And this works both ways. It doesn't just work for.
So right there, right? He's saying that you look at that chart that he's showing, like he's using the 16 level, right? Going back to when Bitcoin fell to 16 and started moving up, right? He's saying that we're around this area. So imagine that being like the 57K, and we spring up from that point. He thought that we were around here, right? Again, and this is why you should definitely watch every show. We were talking about this. What date was this? August 15th, right? 4 days ago, before this came basically out of nowhere, right? So that's from your Boyski. And then over here, shout out to Georgia Pelissari. Okay, shout out to Cypress Domanicore from this. Chief Product Officer at Hex Trust. Just spilled the beans. She says, so I'm actually very excited despite, the bumpy first months of the year, but we have plans for example, BTCC tokenizing by mid-year, hundreds of billions of dollars, right? They're going to do it on a specific chain, a name many of you probably heard in the market. But basically, she's saying she expects the market to bounce back after the tokenization, right? And this was February 21st, 2026.
The initial one. Then we've had a lot of prep work, in my view, towards what we're going to be seeing in 2026, which in my view is extremely exciting despite the red in the market, which is obviously, sad to wake up to. But also after you're in crypto, you know that that's cyclic, right? So you're going to have downturns and you need to keep pushing through. And especially in the institutional space, RWA tokenization, I think that's something that 2025 was a lot of build time, and we'll see the results this year. So I'm actually very, very excited despite the, the bumpy first months of the year. But we have plans such as, for example, BTCC tokenizing by mid-year, hundreds of billions of dollars, right? And they're going to do it in a specific chain. We're going to, a name that probably many have heard so far in the market. But the initial one.
So that's from her, right? So there you go, right? Or if you want to look at the chart, let's take a gander at the chart. Why don't we? This is the Bitcoin chart. And if we can go to the weekly chart, you can see these spikes, right, on the RSI. Let me just verify that you guys can see that. Yes, you can. So the RSI chart is the chart in the middle here, right? You can see the spikes that go below this dotted line where we're oversold. One happened in 15. Another happened in around 18. So January 15. So, about January 15th. November 18, May 22, February 26. So the big 4-year cycle believists, as far as the RSI is concerned, doesn't that just show you that the low is in with the RSI? That's like 4-year increments, almost exactly, like 15 to 18, not exact there, but then 18 to 22, 22 to 26. on the weekly there. So bottom just might be in, guys. It just might be in. I've been consistent about this. If you guys watch the Coin Vault shows, whenever that the Coin Vault crypto verdict shows, right, the game show, whenever is the Bitcoin bottom in, I'm always saying yes, I believe it's in, right? So we've been pretty consistent on that, and I pretty much think it's in. I don't think we're going to 40. I don't think that's happening, right? But it's going to continue to disbelief. People are going to be like, and then we're going to get to 80, and we're going to go past 80, and then people will buy in. And probably around that time, that's when it's going to come back. It's going to come back from like 80 to 85, go back to 75, and then go up. But yeah, let's check out the comments here. Just had to get to you guys today here. What's up, Kevin Garrett? Rue Crew member in the house, Patreon member in the house. What's up, Shawnee Sean 6? What's up, Crypto Dad Pilot? What's up, Black Gold? What's up, Paul Andrew? Today's pump is so awesome. ZBCN went down through sub 0.1 and back to sub 2, adding to my bag. Yeah, Zebec was up like 15 to 20% today. So was Near. So was XRP. I didn't look at Stellar, but I'm sure it's up too. The entire market is up. Paul Andrew, let's go. Canton is off the chain. JP and HSBC Connect. Ripple and Chainlink are always at the party, 100% Black Gold. Bottoms in, people will front one what everyone else is saying. Indeed. My man. What's up, Christopher Ovid in the house? Another my man. What's up, Rue? Bottom is in now. Anything other than this is the same as the Moon Boys. 126 headed to 180K. Same. I told this guy my thesis. He said I was dumb and said, how dare he? I said, and he said, and Chris said,
how dare you?
Indeed. How dare you? Thanks for the cue up there, Christopher. Often appreciate it. Then the FOMO enters. Our guy, Underdog Research Channel, my man in the house.
My man.
Market watching is a distraction. You have to see the value and get past the fear. This is investing. Let's go. Underdog. You should put that on a shirt, my brother. What's up, bro? Definitely check out Underdog Research's channel. If you go on over and mosey yourself on over to my channel, we'll bring it up here. And then mosey on down on the homepage. You'll see Underdog Research Channel right here. Let's click and see what's going on. And check out our guy, Indigo Futures, as well. Indigo does the intro music to the show. So Indigo, Crypto Crossroads show as well, and Crypto Future. Shout out to all of those guys, of course. Latest video here, Plume, new series announcement. I'm loving the new intro, my brother. I'm loving those hoodies as well. I need to buy one. Let me know where I can get a real world alpha hoodie because those things is fire. I'm loving the whole new stylings. It's like back to 2021 Underdog over here. Shout out to my brother Underdog Research Channel. Yes, indeed. How's it going, Rue? Let's go, brother. XRP is one of the best assets out there. Indeed. I can't wait. I feel like quarter four is going to be special. Yeah, you know, quarter four, they always do rebalancing. I'm thinking we might have to wait till January. Well, if people front run January, because the Genius Act will be in full effect January 18th. So you might be right, Paul Andrew. Fourth quarter might be very, very special because people will front run clarity being official in January. I think you're right. I like that. I like that. XRP will do well. Not so sure about what you're going to see. Maybe $8 to $12 is hard to say. McDangon, sure, to pick up some Canton. New news, Subnet Zenith is working to tokenize NASDAQ. Ooh, that's some juicy news. I know Scott from Longview Compute, he was saying something like that. 20 to 30 trillion market cap could dwarf 2017, 2018. And again, that gets into what your boyski was saying with the 7-year cycle. I think the 7-year cycle, when you think about the way the world works, sevens are a lot of cycles. You know what I mean? 7 days of the week, 7 years for something to get off your credit report if you don't pick up the phone. You know, seven's a big number when it comes to cycles, right? So I could see that. I could see that. In multiple upwards since 2017, 2018 is better than 2021. Indeed. How about your boy Hype today? Yeah, Hype was hyping today. Hype was hyping. People were not aware of the timing of the cycles in 18 and 21, but now people are awake indeed and expect the low in October, but the market makers are always aware of this, which is why there won't be another bottom. Indeed. I like that. I like that. Maybe we go up to a certain high, come a little bit back towards the middle in October, and then like jet up the entire way until like January, right? Mr. Tankit, what's up, bro? Northeast Philadelphia in the house. Let's go. The Philadelphia in the house. Land of the Roots and Black Thought, one of my favorite bands out here. Monarchy International Realty. Thanks so much, Ruel, for coming out and sharing this live stream. Greatly appreciated, my friend. Cheers. White House meeting pep in the house from Shani Sean 6. Fourth quarter of December, everyone will have a very Merry Christmas for sure. Cheers, everyone. Indeed. And again, like I said on all of these shows, what's up, Cryptonomics? I think people are not factoring in agentic AI and these robots, man. Come like all of that's hitting like 2027. Man, I think it's going to be a very electric time. Dean Elzoni in the house. What's up, brother? Interestingly, South Korea seems to have an alternative to using USD for trade, and Trump is talking of removing troops. Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. I know South Korea, XRP is very heavy in Korea, guys. Like, definitely do some research on that, guys. You'll find that XRP is very, very heavy in Korea. Okay, so that's why when this whole stuff came out with OpenUSD, the Korean companies kind of backed away, like, no, we didn't exactly agree to or say that. That's why. Because they're using our LUSD, hands down. What is up, Les Square in the house? New Jersey's in the house here. But that's it, guys. I wanted to hit you guys with a quick show. I'm probably going to try to get the live streams, unless it's a weekend. We'll keep our live streams to under an hour. But thank you guys so much for coming through. If you made it to the end, please put in the video bottoms in. Bottoms in. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Bottoms in, always a fun time, guys. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Definitely share the show around. We're on our way to 10K. We're at like 9,800 something. Thank you guys so much for coming through. I'm out. Peace.